Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Saints podcast. I'm your host Elijah, and joining me today, as always, is my boy Julian and Jackson. Boys, good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
Good to see you, lad.
And a really special guest today. He's a diehard Eels fan, as well as a Parramatta expert analyst and a former junior. He's a very good mate of mine, Mr. Patrick Kahwaji. Pat, how's it going, bro?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me on, Elijah. Appreciate it.
No problems. Before we begin, I'd like to announce that the Saints podcast is proud to be partnering with a local cricket organisation, Drunken Hangover. They'll be sponsoring our work moving forward. We're incredibly excited about the opportunity to collaborate and grow together this season. We really appreciate the support and cannot wait to see what we can build with them. Now, onto the podcast. Boys, the weekend didn't go to plan. Dragons fall to the Storm 46 points to 20 in a game where the scoreboard flatters the Storm, in my opinion. The first 60 minutes of that game, we looked like we were going to be in for another upset against the Storm. You know, obviously, we've seen in the past, 2024 and 2025, we've beaten them just this year. It was looking like it was heading in that same trajectory. But obviously, in that 20-minute space, we conceded 28 points. Before we get into the actual game, Jules, you want to talk about the atmosphere over there? Because you and I were on the hill in the thick of it. Talk to me about how the atmosphere was and how was it like being at the game?
So obviously it was the first home game of the Dragons at Wynn Stadium, and man, it was actually crowded. That hill was full, and the atmosphere was crazy. Other than that, yeah, heaps of the stadiums was full as well, each side. But the hill, I think, obviously the hill is always the most packed.
I honestly think, Jackson, I will speak to you. What do you think was the biggest reason why we fell off? Do you think it was fatigue? Do you think it was, a lack of, a skill difference between the two sides? When we look like we were on top, I'll say this before you speak. I feel like execution of sets.
Yeah.
Our execution, like in terms of 3 moments stand out for me as like the moments of the game I have written down. One of them was Cook kicking out on the full. That ultimately changed the game. We were up 20-18. They went down, scored, and it was a floodgate after that. Another one I have is the Joe Chan strip. That also changed the game heavily. When it looked like they just scored, we had the ball, and just the momentum switched. Another one was when we were leading 20-18, and it was 5th tackle, and Kyle Flanagan ran out on last. These little things and our execution of these sets really cost us the game. And I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. It's kind of like last year where our execution in sets, I don't know, it hasn't been up to scratch, honestly. What do you think, Jacko?
I also think another thing that sort of got us was the HIA on Gutho. Like, he wasn't that bad. Like, he walked off perfectly fine, and he milked the penalty, which we got. But at the end of the day, like, they don't care if you're milking or not. If you say you have something wrong with your head, you're getting taken off for 15 minutes for the HIA. Exactly. So, losing our leader in like the final 20 minutes from the back as well, who is known for having that voice to get the boys to rally to win the game at the end, and then for Holmes to have to switch to fullback. Literally had a whole backline reshuffle for that last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It stuffed us. But I think with us, like the minute one thing goes wrong against us, whether that be a stupid error, a penalty, a 6 again, something stupid, our heads just drop straight away.
Yeah,
and then the other team just gets the upper hand on us. They score 1 try, and we just go, oh, yeah, all right, well, we've stuffed up here. Like, they don't ever try and go like, all right, let's bounce back. Let's go up and score. They just continue to do silly stuff because they're not in the game because of their stupid errors originally. And then the other team just rolls us. And we saw that. Like, it's just pure stupidity errors and the inconsistency and the lack of being able to play 80 minutes, which we've seen for 3 years now.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going like off of what you were saying. I feel like we kind of went backwards because I feel like round 1 we'd make some errors that we'd concede a try, and I feel like our resilience was very good round 1. I don't know what happened. I think it's just the upgrading quality that we versed because the Dogs weren't that great. And the Storm were just unbelievable once they started to get some possession. So, I don't know. I feel like it was pretty disappointing. But at the end of the day, I thought positives. I thought for, as I said, for 60 minutes we were in the game. Like our forwards were doing, doing what we were supposed to do. Making upfield, we were making good sets. I feel like the refereeing, there were some calls that were against us, but I think overall the refereeing was like, it was all right. Like it wasn't. We can't blame the referee for why we lost. It's purely because of our lack of quality, I think. We just maybe it just shows the difference between a top side and an average to borderline top 8 side. It's going to be interesting what we see this week. Pat, I'll ask you as a neutral, what were your thoughts on that game, and what are some positives and negatives you can see from the Dragons this season so far?
Yeah, I think what hurt St. George was, especially when Gutherson went off, here's your fullback. Your fullback really sets your defensive line. He's played over 200 games, so all that communication, his counting numbers and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm a St. George fan, I'd be really pleased with how competitive they've been. Let's be honest, Canterbury and Melbourne, they're going to be most likely top 4 teams this year, and both games are really winnable games. I just think probably the concern is St. George. They haven't closed out any of those really close games, which they can. And I just think sometimes maybe that lack of a attacking spark or an X-factor player has hurt them in certain parts of the game. But there's definitely a lot of positives, and I think they've shown so far more positives than Parramatta this season for sure.
Yeah. With the news coming out throughout the week that Bronson Cherry has allegedly requested a release, or he's been dropped. We don't know if he's requested a release. Would you boys be looking at Bronson Cherry as a future Dragon target, as he could slot into the centres and maybe vow at fullback or on the wing, or no?
No, honestly, for me, if a player is the speculation is he's sucked because of a side change, right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, he's had 4 years off already with the situation, and he's come back to a team that's welcomed him back after probably many teams wouldn't, right? After something like that, right? But now he's complaining because he's being moved sides. Yeah. It just screams of someone who just wants the attention about them constantly. Yeah. So honestly, for me, I'd rather a player like maybe a Jake Averillo or something, because can do the same job. And to be honest, Averillo tears us apart every time we bloody play him, I feel like, at this point. So if we could get him, whose speed, which we're lacking, that'd be someone I'd take over from Cherry, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like maybe because I was at the game, I couldn't really see from the TV perspective. Jacko, you can maybe help me with this, but it felt like it was I feel like Setutu struggled to kind of get into the game and to get involved. Would I be right in saying that?
He definitely didn't. He didn't look out of place, but he just was. I feel like he was sort of struggling to find his rhythm. Like, I don't know, like he was matched up against Meany, right? So probably better for him, because I reckon if he was matched up against Warbrick, he would have had a bit of a harder day. But look, he didn't make stupid errors. But he didn't do a lot either to make those stupid errors. He was quiet. Yeah. But look, it's his second game, so I'm not going to go out and criticize yet. You can't really criticize a player till they're about 20, 30 games into their career, I reckon. So 2 games in, I'm not going to really say much, but we definitely need more from our wingers for sure. That's definitely well-known, I think.
No, for sure. Now, Patrick, I'll talk to you about the game on the weekend for you boys. The Eels defeating the Broncos, was it 40-32?
Yeah.
In a game where it was probably a roller coaster of emotions for you boys. You boys were up 20-6. Looked like you're back against the walls. You guys were just looked, quite frankly, terrible for the first probably 25 minutes of the game. I thought it was going to be a walk in the park for the Broncos. And then out of nowhere, 2 names stand out for me: Isaiah Iongi and Kelma Tuolangi. Decided to play like prime Melbourne Storm 2017 and tore the Broncos to shreds for 60 odd minutes. Patrick, tell me about that game. What did you like? What did you not like about that game?
Well, obviously the first thing we didn't like was the defense. Like, to concede 32 points in any NRL game, you should be losing. Like, let's be real. But I think in the middle, our middle third, the defense is absolutely abysmal. The first 2 rounds, like if we do that against St. George, we're gone. Like it was honestly that soft. and pathetic. Like, it was a bit embarrassing. But what was good is we did show a bit of mental resilience to definitely bounce back. And I think Kelmer was unreal. Like, he's having a second rower who can run a kind of line like that and break open the line was really good, because I think that's something. It's probably a bit of a weakness at Parramatta is their middles, but I think the edges definitely stood up in that game. But yeah, look, there are positives, but overall, I didn't really see that many, because just to concede 32 points in an NRL game, I know we won, but there's really not too many positives. Because if we did that to most other teams, like Brisbane are up 20 points to 6, mate, you're going to get blown off the park. Look what Melbourne did to us round 1. So there's definitely alarm bells for Parramatta. And I think St. George, they would be thinking to themselves, let's get the Eels into a bit of a dogfight, scrap fight, and take them to 480. And that's probably, if I'm Jason Rolls, like, that's something that would make me a bit nervous, especially after the first 2 rounds. But one of the big positives is I think Iongi, he's definitely in attack. He's definitely provided us with a spark and another dimension. And I think that's something that can take a bit of pressure off Moses as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially with last year, I feel like you guys heavily relied on Moses. Moses hasn't even had the best start to the season.
No, he hasn't.
So it's been the Iongi show, that the Parramatta Eels so far. I felt like, although you guys won, no offense to you guys, I feel like that game told me more about how poor the Broncos were rather than how good the Eels were. Just because the Broncos were in cruise control of that game, and stupid errors from them, stupid discipline penalties, 6 against, allowed the Parramatta Eels to come into the side of the field and put the points on. I still think defense is an issue. Boys, Dragon, Jacko and Jules.
Yeah.
What did you think about the Eels' performance against the Broncos on the weekend?
I'll let Jules, you go first.
Well, the Broncos, they started off pretty well, and then they dropped off, and then Eels just come in, and I didn't watch half of it, not gonna lie. That second half, I'm gonna be honest. That second half, Eels came in firing, and Moses just pulled the trigger, and yeah, that's about it. I just know he's like 5-0 now at Suncorp.
Yeah, he's some credit. Jacko?
I didn't look at that stat, so.
Look, something for me, like Pat said, and like you said, it's been the Iongi show, but there's been another player who stood out for me for Para, like coming off the bench, and that's Sam Tuivasa. He comes on and he makes an immediate impact. Like, I was just reading his stats. So last week against Brisbane, he played 26 minutes, but comes on and like makes like 9 runs and runs for like 130 meters off the bench in 26 minutes. Like, he comes on and just brings a different presence for Para. And I think their bench could be something that the Dragons need to look out for this week. Like, with Tuivasa, and then they also have Dylan Walker coming on at the same time.
Me.
Brings grunt.
I agree.
Dylan Walker's debut against us last year, he tore us to shreds. Their bench is definitely something we need to look at this week, because that is a very good 1-2 punch. And then you bring on Matt Doorey as well, who's a big body and will get through the hard yards of work. So our middles definitely need to be ready to match those three big bodies that come off the bench for Para, 100%. Yeah,
for sure. Pat, I want to ask you, 2 games into the season, it's kind of hard to get a read on certain plays, certain signings, but the 2 signings that stand out to me that you guys have made, Jonah Pezzett and Jack DeBellin. Give me the rundown on both these plays, how you think they've run. We'll start with the former Dragon, Jack DeBellin.
Look, obviously 2 games in, it's very hard to make a full judgment, but like, if we're going to be completely honest, 2 games in, he's been a little bit underwhelming, because he is known for his defense, and look how many points we have conceded. And I think the most disappointing thing with Parramatta has been their starting middles in that middle third, because we've conceded so much points. And once our bench comes on, like, I thought De Silva had his best game in the blue and gold last week, and then guys like Tuivasa, Dury, and Dylan Walker have all been sensational. I think we look better when our bench is on, and I just think, look, I want to give it to DeBellin time, but yeah, definitely his first 2 games have been underwhelming, because at St. George, he was just known for such a defensive, absolute, great player in defense, but still very early.
Yeah. Jonah Pezzett.
He's been probably the most talked about signing for 26, but look, he comes with a lot of hype. He's done a few good things in attack, like in Brisbane, but his defense definitely hasn't been up to scratch. But I think it's only 2 rounds in, and his combination with Moses will get better, and hopefully his kicking game can take a bit of pressure off Mitch, because Mitch his biggest asset is almost his running game. He's probably the quickest half in the comp. You don't realise when he'd unlock his running game a bit more than is have him just, kicking long and kicking to that 5x5 box and making the opposition work out of that. But look, Jonas obviously had a few moments in defence where even Ryle said in the press conference, we're going to keep working on things. So, look, I think as long as both keep improving, but I think Jonas showed a little bit of promise, but we're going to wait a few more weeks.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, the last time the Dragons and the Eels matched up, it was a crazy game. I think it was 34 points to 20 in a game of two halves. Tale of two halves. The first half, absolute dominance. We held the Eels try. No, you guys scored one in the I think through Adokar. But complete dominance in the first half. Looked like we're going to win by 50. We're going to put 50 on them. I don't know what the heck Jason Ross put in your players, Pat, but you guys came out with such a spring in that second half, and you guys brought it, I think, within a try.
Yeah, within 4 points.
And then you guys were going to look like you guys were going to tie it up, we'll take the lead, and then Josh Adokar stepped on the sideline. Given what you can remember, Pat, take me through just about that game, take me through that game and because you
the first ever game went to Wollongong, but I remember that first half I was with a few St. George supporters and I go, that was some of the best footy I've seen St. George play in 2025. Like those first half tries, they were just spreading the ball inside their own half, and I think sometimes that one out running just doesn't work. You just kept getting 3 or 4 people in a tackle pinned, but St. George are really spreading the ball, creating a few overlaps against Parramatta, and they really looked exciting in attack. But then Parramatta went through a 20-minute stage where they started stringing a few tries back and stuff. But ultimately, I think it was St. George's night that night, and they looked really slick that night. It was one of their best performances last year.
Yeah. I feel like one name that stood out to me that night, if I can remember, I remember Val Holmes had a very good night. I also thought I don't know, the thing about the Eels, whenever I go into Eels games, I'm not confident because the last time we beat you was in 2021. For historically, Pat, we don't have a good record against you boys. We've won. What's the stat that you say was? We've won
4 games in the past 13 years.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So historically, we do not have a good record against Parramatta. And when you guys started to make a comeback, I was like, it's actually destined to happen. But your star boy Zach Lomax gave the Dragons his final Dragons assist, and he passed the ball to Val Holmes, who ran about 60 meters to score. In a game that was important for us in search for the top 8 up until that point. Obviously, we finished 15th, but we were kind of in the hunt for the top 8 up until that point. Parramatta looked flat. Their middles were even now your middle. I feel like the past couple of years your middles have been a bit soft, and that is something that you but I'm pretty sure we scored the first set, and that kind of sets
you did.
Nathan Lawson, who was a late inclusion, scored 2 tries if I remember. So there you go.
I'd second to that point, Elijah. Just with our middles, I think that's something Parramatta's recruitment and retention probably since the grand final has probably fallen down a bit. I think with our forward pack, we had such a good forward pack, but I think the way the game's changed into the more agile, mobile forwards who have got, much better in defence, quicker line speed, quick play of the ball, and obviously have a bit of ball playing skills. So I think that's definitely something if I was Parramatta, and hopefully we can look at some new front rowers and definitely strengthen our forward pack, because I think that is a bit of a weakness. But having young guys like Sam Tuivasa come through is definitely a pleasing thing to see those young guys definitely take the next step.
Yeah, no, for sure. Jackson, talk to me about that game last year as well, where we lost via a heartbreaking Zach Lomax field goal. It was a bit while ago, but talk me through what were your thoughts on that game. What can you remember?
Well, it was the start of a shit season where I didn't expect us to lose another 5 games by 1 point, but we did. Look, I honestly don't remember much from the game. I remember, we came out with we were obviously 0-2 going into that game as well, which it's weird because we are now, right? So, but look, I just remember us coming out with a bit of a presence about us. Gutho, there was a lot of hype around him going into the week. First game back at Para, at the stadium, all the Para fans and everything. So I remember him. I think he got a double that game or something. Was it? He got a double.
Yeah.
So I remember Gutho playing pretty well, but yet again, it was the stupid errors. Like Riley Smith was probably my standout in that game, if I remember correctly. Like for him, he won Para that game, right, without kicking the field goal. Because I remember he put that unreal kick pressure on Marker out onto Ilias, and Ilias kicks it out on the full. And then that ultimately led to them getting set up beautifully for a low max field goal. So it's just those little things that we still struggle to, close out games, but hopefully it's something we're trying to work on because we've already seen it once this year. So I don't want to lose by 1 point again because it's devastating to lose by 1 point. It's horrible.
Sure. Before we move on, I want to take a minute just to shout out the boys from the New South Wales Cup. I know we lost on the weekend, but the Dragons have started 2 from 2 from the New South Wales Cup, beating the Storm from 42-26. The boys have really impressed me. I can't lie. Joseph O'Neill really stood out to me in a few preseason matches that he looked a bit underwhelming, but to be in there and to look very comfortable, 3 tries, had a few try involvements too. The boys just look so connected. Jackson, what were your thoughts on the Cup boys this season, just overall?
Yeah, look, I don't really watch much Cup because I think Bar TV is awful and it's just a hard thing to watch. But look, it just goes to show the depth that we have, I think, and the competition that, like, if you're not up to scratch right now in our team, like, there's kids there that are ready to take over. Like, I'll read the team. Like, there's some names like Hayden Buchanan who just re-signed as well for another 2 years, which is massive for us. He's got speed, he's got, some grit about him as well. So I genuinely think he's got Moses Sully on his toes.
Yeah, sure.
I think you've got players like you said, Joseph O'Neill, who obviously has a hard battle with Cade Reed right now. But, with Cade Reed out with a head knock last week, I thought O'Neill stepped up massively. And like Elijah said, I thought he was a bit scrappy in the trials, but yet again, you can't really base anyone on how they're going to be in a trial game, right? Because it's their first game back against another opposing team. So, and it was, so he was, I think we got him from the Dogs, I think O'Neill. So, and he was touted as a pretty good talent. So he's there as well. You got players like Loco Pacifici Tonga who should be in the NRL squad, quietly should be in the NRL squad. But honestly, like, our Cup team is ridiculous. Like, it's just all the kids that have been talked about, and it just shows like we've got some depth, and they did well last year as well. So must come down to the coaching of Willie Tillau as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, boys, I'm gonna ask you individually, what is your favorite Dragons versus Parramatta moment that you have, or memory that you have? Patrick, I'll start off with you. I probably know where you're heading for. Yeah, Pat.
Yeah, Parramatta St George. Oh, I think it's hard to go past 2009, probably that semi-final, just because I think people forget how dominant the 2009 Dragons were. They finished with the minor premiership. I think they lost 4 or 5 games all year, and in round 26 it was locked in back in the old McIntyre system. First used to play 8th, and obviously Parramatta and St George are playing week 1, and that they Saints smashed Para in round 26, 37-0. So there's no 6 against back then. So that's probably like a 50 or 60 point loss these days. And then we come out week 1 of the finals after just scraping into the top 8 at Cogra. It was packed. And then Jared Haynes scores that freakish try, I think everyone remembers. And then Luke Burr with that awesome field goal, and Eric Groth with that intercept. But yeah, that's probably my favourite game because just obviously the significance of 2009 and probably beating what was such a good St. George team.
Yeah. Jacko?
Bro, I can't even remember, because we had no good moments against Para.
Yeah, that's fair.
We've had no good moments for 40 years.
We've had no good moments since 2010. We're just in the bin. Honestly, it might be last year's win because we hadn't beaten them in a while, and it just felt a little bit better with Lomax giving the ball to Holmes as well. So I think that'd be up there at the moment. But honestly, I can't think of many other things apart from that. Like, there's not much.
Jules, what are you?
I'll switch it up from here. I think this one is a bit traumatizing because we did lose.
Oh,
but not last year before, when we were getting smashed like 30-40-0, and then we just put on so many points in 10 minutes, and it just made it look like we didn't get smashed. We lost by like 4 points. But
Yeah.
That was
they just turned up in the last 10 minutes. But I know
That was Ravalawa's legacy game.
But yeah.
Oh, that was-
Oh, jeez.
The worst game he's ever played it for the Dragons. I reckon.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was his last two, if I remember. I think it was.
Yeah.
Pretty
That was
sure
when
but look, I was surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Jacko said, we don't have any, and like you all said, we don't have many good moments versus Para.
that was I think when Ben Hunt and Flanagan had that little fight in the dressing sheds after both blowing up, and I think that was the start of the fractured relationship, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that relationship started the fractions
Yeah.
years before that.
Yeah.
He should have been in a Brisbane jersey.
I'll
probably
tell
2
you what.
years before that game.
100%. I'm surprised none of you Dragons boys have said it. My favorite moment was Mary's last game in 2020, 14-12 at Combank Stadium, Parramatta, one of the premiership favourites, solidified top 4 team, and us struggling to win a game all season. We started the season 0-4, I believe. Terrible year for us, and we walk into the playground, and Cade Ellis has a legacy game. Who else had a? We just we ran amok on the Parramatta boys. I'll tell you what, it surprised me because I remember I'm pretty sure Reid Marnie scored an unbelievable try. Then they went up to the bunker and then they disallowed it because the ball was on the line. That was a crazy to get that win in Mary's last game too. Was he the best coach? No, he wasn't. Like, let's not lie to ourselves. He probably wasn't a good coach as well. But at the end of the day, to send to farewell a coach that's been there for like 7 years, and to get a scrappy, gritty win against a top 4 contender, that's one of the best wins I've seen the Dragons play in total in the last probably decade. Off the top of my head, just how.
Guys, breaking news! Dylan Egan has just re-signed until 2029 with the.
Well, there you go. There you go.
That's a great signing.
Saw it then, so that is unreal news for the Dragons.
Beautiful.
How long is it for?
Oh, that is incredible stuff.
It's another 3 years.
Another 3 years?
Because he's
After
re-signed
this,
until the end of like 2027. So him and Hamish are now both locked up until the end of 2029. So that is really good news.
There you
for
go.
Dragons.
Book it in. Bookie's 2029 NRL premieres. There you go.
That's incredible stuff.
I want to add
honestly,
some.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I just seen that game, Parramatta and Saints in 2020. I think Gutherson broke the record for the most run meters in an NRL game.
He did.
ever.
I remember that.
And New South Wales Cup, if you want to watch someone, Parramatta, they're number 6, Lorenzo Talentino. He's a very talented half. I think next year, if him and Mitch Moses, they're going to – I really think I think Parramatta, the way they've got to do this the next couple of years is they've got such a strong junior base, such a big catchment area. You just build up the juniors, and because they've got such a good junior base, so many talented players coming through. But Lorenzo, he's going to be something very, very special, and he can have a great partnership with Mitch. So I think that's something that keep your eyes out for on Sunday, Arvo.
110%. Now into the preview. Jules, do you want to read the Dragons team list 1 to 17?
I do.
1 to 19, actually. Yeah, I forget.
1 to 19.
Forget
All right, let's do it. All right. Dragons starting lineup, or the 19-man squad, whatever you want to call it. Fullback, Clint Gutho. Our wingers, Tuipulotu and Setu 2. Our centers, Zuli and Holmes. Our halves, Flanagan and Atkinson. We've got Emre Gula, Damien Cook, Toby Couchman, Leilua, Jaden Sewer, Hamish Stewart. And on our bench, returning, I think will be our one and only X factor, honestly, this year. I can't lie. Jacob Little, the man himself.
Yeah, he's back.
He's back, bro. It's a bit of a relief for us, I think, because we really needed him. Especially, I reckon, against Dogs there. Would have been a massive impact. Anyways, Joshy Kerr, Blake Laurie, Brian Couchman, Hame Sele, and Matthew Fine. And
there you go. We'll talk on the Dragons lineup a bit. Pat, did you want to read the Parramatta Eels lineup?
Perfect.
There you go. So,
all right. So the blue and golds, Iongi at fullback, on the wings, Simonson, Addo Carr. In the centres, Russell and Sam Riney. I think they've both been really good this year. In the halves, obviously, Pezzett, Moses, and then Hopgood, Smith, Paulo, Tulagi, Katoga, Jack Williams, and then on the bench, Dylan Walker, Tuivasa, Drury, De Silva, De Bellin, Joash, and Jason Rolls is their coach.
Now, Pat, a little birdie has told me that you actually do a very good Buzz Rothfield impression. Is that true?
Oh, mate, that's an absolute honour for you to say that.
There you go. Brayson Astor and Gordon Tallis, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, but if you are, call up Pat, because this bloke, he should be on the seat next to you boys. Pat, that was amazing, though. That's
What about when Buzz had the feud with Madge? No one in the history of the game has spoken to me more rudely than Madge Maguire, and I will not back down on what I said.
Bro, that's so good.
That's hectic.
That's gold.
But I actually think Little is I'll be honest, I'm not confident. I know we're playing at Combank, but I think, as I said before, St. George have been better than Parramatta to start off. Obviously, results haven't gone your way, but I think Little in the 14 because what happens is he'll come on against a tired Parramatta middle third, and he can just literally run amok. So that's something I hope Rolls is really prepared for, because he's such a good player.
Yeah. I think the Dragons' still biggest weakness that I see in their team is probably their bench, but Jacob Little aids with that. It's going to be interesting what they do. Jackson, you can kind of, talk about this too. With their 4-man bench that they pick from their 6, it's going to be interesting with Jacob Little. You see Josh Kerr will probably play, Ryan Couchman. Who's that fourth that you play? Jaime is in that 18. Do you play him? Do you play Fine again and try to take out one of the tied backs? I know it depends on the game, but just seeing the bench, what do you think the Dragons do?
Well, I don't think Blake Lawrie plays, because he's been in that 14 to 17 every week, and he actually hasn't stepped on the field. He's just there to bring, I don't know what he's there for. He doesn't bring anything. But I think it might be Jaime, which is a bit weird for me seeing Sele at 18, considering he's actually started lock the past 2 weeks. But you look back, last week he ran for 15 meters, which you need more. He played about 40 minutes and he ran 15 meters. So I really hope they keep Hamish starting, because that kid is unreal. But the thing that just annoys me the most is I actually hope De Bellin plays. That was one of the reasons I was really excited this week. And now seeing him at 18, the bloke might not even get on the field.
No, I don't think.
Yeah. I think that could also be mind games from Rolls. Maybe thinking, you know what, St. George, he's played, what did De Bellin play over 250 games for years?
Yeah.
There's a lot of expectation to play his former club. But maybe Rolls is just playing a bit of mind games and stuff. But you never know till game day. But even last year's game, Gutherson, when he played against Para, he just absolutely tore him to shreds. And to be honest, that first game in round 5, I thought St. George had that in the bag until Dylan Walker came on, and he really
changed the game.
He changed Parramatta's season. Up until then, they were absolutely putrid. Mate, they were shocking. Each game, they were round 1, obviously, we lost by that crazy score to Melbourne. Round 2, the Tigers put an absolute clinic on us at Combank. We hadn't won a game till then. And then Dylan Walker, he just absolutely changed our attack, and just the defenders he draws, puts people through holes. He's got that ball playing skill. He's almost like having another half to help Moses in a 13.
Yeah.
That's why the 13 has become so important. They always say it's the next spine member, but Dylan Walker's really exemplified that. And I think he was probably the underrated signing of last year. I think he was a better signing for Parramatta than what Zach Lomax was.
Yeah, that's probably fair to say. I actually want to give a huge shout out to, there's one player that stood out by miles for me for the Dragons team. And it's a player who didn't play all of last year. It's Ryan Couchman. He has impressed me so much. His effort, his workload that he's been putting on into the field, he's just been outstanding. It's like he never did his ACL. He's really impressed me. He's been one of the Dragons' better forward to start this season. to see how he, like, even in trials, you could see it building up, to see it finally paying off. And for all the fantasy and Supercoach players who are watching this, he's cheap. He's like 250 or 300. I don't know what his value's going up by the minute. So make sure you guys get him. I've definitely got him, but he's been amazing. Jules, what are your thoughts on the Carlton Twins this year so far?
Coming from that Bulldogs game, they're looking like the new Bash Bros.
Yeah.
That photo is unreal. They've already got banners of them, so I'm just excited week in, week out to watch him play. Like you said, it's like he never done his ACL, bro. Killing it.
Yeah. Jackson, who's been a player that stood out for you a lot these first 2 games of the season, would you say?
It probably is the Couchman boys when you think about it. Like, they're still really young, but they're like, with Sewer, I think they're the leaders in our pack at the moment.
Yeah.
And for Ryan actually hasn't played many NRL games. I think he's played like 18 or something.
Yeah,
like, he hasn't played as many as Toby, but like, obviously you don't wish injuries upon anybody, but it was like this ACL tear was like a blessing for him in a way. Like, he's genuinely come out unreal. And, you know, at the moment with the re-signings of, like, we've re-signed Hamish long-term, Buchanan, just then Dylan Egan, they're 2 that we need to lock up for a long time, because genuinely, like, they both just bring a presence that about them that just wants to win, you know, and they genuinely, like, want the Dragons to go back to where they are. So, like, honestly, all of our young kids have stood up, but if it's one individual player, I've got to say Daniel Atkinson, you know, well on his shoulders. But last week, like, obviously we didn't win, but busted ankle, he was unreal. That ball to Valentine Holmes was unbelievable. Like, for him to just come off his right foot and then just throw an absolute dime to Val's chest. And then for him, I think he set up Val's second one as well, where he put Val through that really nice hole. He's genuinely, like, stood up, and I would easily say he's probably become, like, a fan favourite pretty quickly as well, Atko. So he's stood out for me very big this year.
His kicking game is very impressive as well.
Oh, yeah, he's leading the kick meters. I saw someone post that the other day. So at the moment, he's actually leading the total meters kicked by a half, which is weird because he's not meant to be a halfback, but he's got one of the best boots. So
yeah. And Cook is leading, is it tackles within the first 2 rounds, I'm pretty sure. So we've although the results haven't gone our way, we have a few standout players. I also want to say Hamish Stewart is going to be in Origin in the next 2 to 3 years. That bloke is an absolute gun. Him and the Couchmans, if one of them's not in the Origin side, it's going to be a joke. Our forward side is genuinely looking. The trajectory is looking like it's going to be better than the 2018 forward pack, which was probably the best in the competition.
What a pack!
If you remember, we had Leeson Armel, Paul Vaughan, Tyson Frizzell, Tarek Sims, Jack DeBellin.
All playing Origin. Paul Vaughan.
All play Origin.
All playing Origin.
Like, we were supposed to get top 4 that year, but we Origin choked again, which we won't get into. But I
thought Hamish was really good off the bench the other. Like,
he was.
I think we scored off the play where he scooped it out of dummy half, threw an unbelievable dummy, and ran for about 30 meters. Yeah. I think we scored off that play.
We scored off the next play off the next play where Catherine got tackled.
Momentum changer, Hamish. So I'm really happy that we've kept him long term, because I remember last year when he was sort of coming through the light that it came out that he knocked back an offer from the Dolphins, who was Wayne Bennett at the time, and Melbourne, who stay with the Dragons. So that just shows how much he loves the Red V, and he's genuinely, you can tell by the way he plays, because the fans love him, and I think he's very well loved around the players as well. So he's definitely someone who will play Origin 1,000%.
Yeah. Pat, you were going to say something?
Yeah, the scary thing is with those forwards, they don't peak till 27, 28 as well. So you just got to think, imagine an extra 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of development, and they see the game differently then. And I think they just suit the way the modern forward plays as well. So, and their skill set, as you said, they'll definitely be future Origin players if they continue on their trajectories. And now it'll be interesting to see which, as a non-St. George fan, be interested to see what Shane Flanagan does long term with the team, because I think the forward pack is pretty close to being locked down, especially with Keon coming for 5 years.
Yeah.
But I think that the thing when I look at Saints, it's like with Clint Gutherson, he's obviously lost a bit of pace, and I think he's contracted till the end of 27. And Cook, as good as he's been playing, is 34 now, 35. So it's kind of like, what's the long-term fullback at 9 situation? What do you boys reckon? Which way Flano's going to go?
It's going to be interesting because I've heard talks that Jareen Buller is, but I think honestly, I just feel like he's going to re-sign with the Tigers. I don't see him coming, so it's going to be interesting. There was talks that Chevy Stewart was in talk. It looked like he was going to come. Nothing ever happened. It was like the biggest anticlimax thing. It looked like he was going to sign for all money. It's really going to be interesting what we do with our fullback, our 9. Even in reserve grade, I feel like a dummy half is something that we like. Little will obviously be there, but in terms of a utility, I'm very curious to see what they do because I don't know if they might, move Cole to the bench in the future and have Cade Reed once he's developed into the half. I don't know what they're going to. I don't know how long Kyle will be at the club. It's going to be. I feel like we need to really target a 9 in the off season, a depth 9, because I feel like when because Little's just coming back, it would have been so handy if we had a dummy half on the bench. I love Haley Finau. I think is a gun. I just don't know if he's ready for the NRL physicality just yet.
A few players that maybe stand out to me that we could buy, and there's one at the fullback who I like a lot at the moment, and I genuinely think we're a bigger chance than people think, and that's Scott Drinkwater. He's apparently being dropped this week, right? To put Purdue. Yeah, apparently they're dropping Drinkwater, put Purdue at fullback, right? So the talk is Purdue re-signed because he's about to re-sign, but he was only re-signing if he was getting he wants a spot in the spine. So if he goes to fullback, guaranteed, Scott Drinkwater is someone we need to jump on immediately, I feel. Like
100%.
He's
electric.
Young. He's electric. He's an X Factor player. X Factor. And then maybe for 14 we could look at Owen Paddy maybe. He's just been dropped because Canberra brought in Jalen Brayley. So there's options.
He's got a good long-term future, Owen. I really rate him. So
there's there'll be someone out there who will want an opportunity to come and probably play 30 minutes off the bench every week to be their 14. So it's just a matter of who we find. But I think we still have some good money, so we've got to use it to our will.
We have a few connections to Drinkwater. Obviously, Holmes. We have Leilua who played with him. We also have Dean Young, who was an assistant coach at the Cowboys from 2021 to 2023 or 4. We have. I don't know. I reckon we should go after them. I think, as Pat alluded to and Jackson too, I feel like a 1 and a 9 is something really, really need to target. I feel like our halves. I really like the look of Cade Reed, and in the future, I think he's our definite starting 6 or 7. Sorry, starting 7 with Daniel Atkinson moving to 6, his natural position. So it's gonna be interesting in terms of the game. Boys, I'm going to go around and you were to tell me a score that you think the game will end up and give me a try score from both sides. So I'll start off. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Dragons will hold on. I don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it will be, but I don't know what I'm saying. I think it will be a high-scoring game, actually. I think it'll be 26 points to 24. I think Parramatta will score some tries. I think Dragons will score some tries. At the end of the day, I think we'll score more tries. Val Holmes will not convert on 2 of his kicks. So he'll end up on. Well, he usually does it every game. I love Val, but he usually does. So 26 to 24 in terms of my try scorers. I'm going to go with Gutherson against his former club. I reckon Gutherson's going to have a blind. I was talking to Pat earlier a few days ago about this. I think Gutherson's in for a blinder. I reckon he's just going to have one of those games where he's just involved in everything. And I think both fullbacks score. I think Iongi will score. Iongi's been probably one of the best fullbacks in the comp so far. So far long as up there, didn't it? Like this, he's definitely in that conversation, Iongi. I think both fullbacks will score. Pat, what do you think?
Yeah, before that, what do you reckon they do with Gutherson? Next year's last year on contract. Do you reckon he gets re-signed or do you reckon he retires?
I genuinely don't see him getting re-signed whatsoever. I don't even think there's a part of me that feels that. I genuinely feel like I think he was a filler until better players came
I wouldn't be surprised if they just sign him to a 1-year extension, and then if they're just going to keep delaying. If we find someone in the meantime, they won't do it. But as it stands, I think we'll probably re-sign him 1 year on his contract. So
his fitness and leadership is unreal. But I definitely really like what Jason did with bringing Ayong in, because I always thought, even when we had the grand final side and stuff, we probably lacked a bit of X factor in the back line. But Ayongi, he's got the step, he's got the pass, break tackles, and he's definitely electric out back. And I think he will score on Sunday. And for Saints, I'm going to go Val Holmes. I think he'll score. And honestly, I'm not confident at all this week. But I'm going to go Parramatta 22, Saints 18. I think it'll be a really close game.
Yeah.
I think another thing that probably hurt Parramatta and St. George is probably their ball control. A lot of errors, both teams, which can be quite frustrating. And I think whoever holds onto the ball, because you do get fatigued, and especially with the 6 against these days, as you see in the first 2 rounds, you cop a few 6 against, the fatigue rolls in, and then you're just on the back foot. But I think, fingers crossed, hopefully at Combank we can get a win. But I think it's literally a flip of a coin, this game. It's very hard to read. It'll be good to see Parramatta put in a much better performance than the first 2 rounds, especially with all the hype they came into this year.
Yeah. Jackson?
Either I'm delusional or I actually feel it, but I think the Dragons actually win this game, which is unlike me, because if I think we're going to lose, I will say it. But I actually think we're going to win. I think we'll win 26-12. I think we'll show out a bit this game. I think something will come out. Try scorers, I'm going to go Bailey Simonson and Nepo Ball, Kyle Flanagan. Don't get that one straight over.
Yeah. Jules?
I think Dragons will fight for this one, and they get a try within the last 10 minutes and win the game 24-20. And I'm going to say it's comeback season, and Jacob Little gets one on his first game back. And I see Mitchell Moses getting through right in the middle of the trialer, in the middle. I just see it.
He's been a bit quiet to start the year, to be honest. I think
that's what I mean.
It's a bit weird.
Against us, he won't be. I'm just
He was injured for a lot of last year, but every game he played for Parramatta was unreal.
Unreal's had a great back end of the season.
We're probably the form team of the comp. We smashed the Roosters at Combank when Roosters went on that run, beat Brisbane in Brisbane and the Warriors over there, and we lost to Melbourne by a try at Combank. So we really improved heaps. And it's just been, I don't know, Mitch has been a bit off, especially in defence. If you watch some of his efforts in the Brisbane game, it was a bit concerning. But fingers crossed he returns to his best, because I think that field possession, I think that'll be a big thing. Mitch's long kicking game, I think it probably sometimes when Parramatta have a poor set, it's kind of...
It's a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, literally.
And the thing is, it happened in the past when Moses' kicking game has really choked us and pinned us, and we haven't been able to make any meters. If Moses is able to execute that, the Dragons are going to have a very hard time making yardage. I do think Jacob Little, will have a massive game. I think with that Melbourne game, you look at the time where we start conceding points. If you bring Little on around that 60-minute mark, we probably win the game, honestly. I feel like him being around the ruck, especially when the Parramatta Eels are tired and the Parramatta forwards are kind of, lethargic with the movements, and that I really do believe that he can kind of take advantage of your weak middles, Pat. I do think, as you said, I feel like your halves defense is somewhere where the Dragons need to really target. Because I haven't been impressed with Pezza or Moses' defense. I think your middles are soft as a marshmallow, to put it quite frank. So I don't know. It's going to be a very close game. We've all got pretty close ones, bar Jackson. I think it'll probably be a close game, win or lose. I think the Dragons and Parramatta will probably put up a good fight. So now,
we'll look at round one. Harry Grant, he just started one hand scooting out of dummy half. He just literally saw how sloppy the A and B defender were at marker, and then off he went. It was just dead set. Sometimes the way you think Parramatta, round one, they're playing Melbourne in Melbourne. They did it last year. You think they'd be you know what? boys, we're going to be ready for this. The first 10 minutes, like they played unreal, scored the first try, man down. I think half of Parramatta League's bought grand final tickets in the first 10 minutes, and then they fell apart. And like that's one thing you got to watch. Like momentum these days, it's so hard to wrestle back. And I think the way the game has gone, you can't you just got to be so quick, especially in and around the ruck. Otherwise, you give away 6 agains, and you're disciplined. You kind of get blown off the park straight away. So, but yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. It's very hard to call, Elijah. I think it's one of those ones, but hopefully it'll be a big crowd Sunday Arvo Combank.
And Jules, me and you are heading down there to support the Dragons.
Yeah,
you're obviously going to be there in support.
I'll be there.
I'm probably going to be viewers who are watching this who are looking out for the vlog and that. I actually was meant to vlog. My mic stopped working, but Julian is coming in clutch and finally bringing his mic. So we're going to be interviewing Parramatta and Dragons fans at halftime, pre-game, and full-time. So if you guys see us with a mic roaming around, come say hello. And if you want to be in the vlog and in the video, be in the video. It's going to be a hectic game. The atmosphere is going to be crazy.
Combank boys.
Combank is going to be
crazy.
I'm keen. I'm so keen.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sellout. They're 2 big clubs. I think the disappointing part is obviously Parramatta and St. George haven't done well in a long time. Like they haven't been thriving, but people forget how big both clubs are.
Yeah.
Like they should be the powerhouse teams in Sydney. Like look at St. George, all those juniors in the Illawarra region, and same as Parramatta. They have such a good junior base and stuff. But it would be definitely great to see them back at the top of the ladder. Sick of seeing Melbourne and Brisbane up there.
Yeah, it's getting boring.
Nah, for sure. I think, as I said, I remember the first game I ever went to Combank. I think it's the first and only Dragons versus Eels match I've ever been to Combank. I've only been there twice. The other one was last year's New South Wales Cup grand final. But we lost to Parramatta, the second ever game at Combank. Where Gutherson did the Gutherona right in front of me. I hated him, I can't lie, but now I love him. So, but I tell you what, man, like that game, I remember we were winning by, was it 14 or no, something like that. And
Corey Norman had a blinder, and then Sevo took him out.
Before Marcus Sevo took him out and gave him, was it broke his jaw or something like that? Something happened.
He'll seeing stars, don't worry.
But no, I think it'll be a really good atmosphere. It's going to be a good crowd. We're going to get hopefully a good turnout from both teams. Parramatta Dragons is always a great matchup at Combank. Nationally televised game should be good. I'm going to say Dragons 26, Eels 24. Now, boys, on to the next segment. We're going to be blind ranking. I know you boys are hesitant, but you guys are going to do it anyway. Blind ranking 5 players that have played for both the Dragons and the Eels. So I'm going to...
Is this NRL era?
Well, I even know 5. I don't know.
Yeah, straight out. All right, Elijah, hit us.
Daniel Alvaro's 1. I'm done. I'll finish. Daniel Alvaro is number 1. He wins it.
Okay. First name, Clint Gutherson. We'll start with Pat. Pat, where do you rate him? This is all time.
I can't remember like any other big name leaving either club to go to Parramatta or Saints. I'm going to put him at number 1, to be honest, because he probably should have won the Daily M in 2020, got us to a grand final and multiple top 4 finishes, and probably the fittest player in the comp.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that his body's kind of slowed down, but defensively, I remember at Para, like the amount of tries he stopped and stuff. He probably didn't have the spark in attack, but champion player.
Yeah. Jackson?
I'm not falling for this again, so I'm just going to put him at 1. I feel like it's the same. He's done so much already for both clubs. Like, I feel like there's not much more. There's not much more that could follow him. So I think I'm going to say 1. I'm not getting stitched up.
Julian?
I'm with Jackson on that. I'm not really good with this stuff. Chuck him at 1, bro. Yeah.
Next name. No, Pat is familiar with. I don't know about Jules and that, but Bo Scott. He played in the Dragons. Yeah, Jackson. Jules, you wanna go on for 10? You have a sin bin. Let these two do it if you want. I don't know, up to you.
Yeah, 100%. Talk about another player later.
But both Scott.
Yeah.
Pat, what do you rate him?
Oh, number 2. I think he was probably my favourite Dragons forward from that 2010 Premiership winning team. I remember he only played 2 seasons at Parra. His second season was pretty injury prone, but his first season, his defence was unbelievable in his leadership. He's I loved him as a signing, even though he didn't stay for very long. I think he's a champion player.
I actually forgot when I was researching. I actually forgot that both Scott actually played for Parramatta.
I thought he played for Newcastle as well, didn't he? Did he? Newcastle? Let me check. I feel like both
he was a top player
as well.
He might have actually. Yeah, he did. He did.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jackson, where do you put him?
He was in our grand final winning side at the end of the day, so I feel like you have to put him at 2. He was in the team that last won us a comp, and he was starting. It's not like he was a bench player. So he's probably number 2.
Third name up, the Snake, Zach Lomax.
5.
Okay.
Yeah, 5.
Fuck that guy.
Mate, he flicked passes thinking he's like prime Jared Hayne, but it never hit the target.
That's fair.
Fair income. And don't get me wrong, he played good footy for us, but I actually think Josh Adokar was better for us last year.
Yeah,
I think Adokar was brilliant.
100%.
Adokar was a gun. He scored close to 20 tries. He was quick. He brought excitement. I think Lomax had a few errors in him at certain times. Even that second game we played you at Wollongong, he was rattled.
Yeah,
he was rattled.
Bro, it took him 10 rounds to realise he's not a good centre.
That's what I don't get. I was talking to Shane Flanagan about this when it came on the podcast. If you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you guys check it out. But he left the Dragons. His home, he stayed there for his whole career. He was a junior to go to Parramatta Eels for less money to play his preferred position centre. As Julian said, it only took him 10 rounds to go back to the position that he came for less money. You can tell, I guarantee you, if he had his time back, he can say whatever he wants in the media about, I don't regret my decision when he's with the Western Forts, whatever that team is called. Whatever he wants. 100% he regrets his decision, and probably because Shane Flanagan saved his career. Let's be real, he did,
100%.
And he just stuffed himself over by leaving the Dragons, in my opinion. So both of you guys 5.
Yeah,
100%.
And the thing with Zach, he was always this Brad Fittler. What did Brad Fittler call him? The talented one coming through. Up until that 24 season, I'll be honest, I didn't see the hype in him.
Exactly.
And then he had that.
Don't forget. He got dropped in 2022 to cut.
2023.
Yeah. And then he had,
and
he had that crazy 24 season, and I think he can thank Flano. But as Saints fans, Flano, it's year number 3, is it for him?
Yeah.
So obviously, at Parra, Jason Rolls has a bit of leeway. Obviously, massive roster clean up. When do you reckon a guy like Shane Flanagan has the pressure on him to start making the top 8? When do you reckon?
This year.
This year, bro.
I actually don't think.
No, you know what? No, I'll give him some leniency. Now that we've made a massive signing in Keon, I'll say next year.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Next year is the year where he really has to prove that we can make the finals, or else But the issue is there's not really other coaches on the market at the moment.
I'm gonna say this right now. If there's a coach that can take us to the promised land, if that's top 4, if that's a premiership, it's Shane Flanagan. Because right now there's no other coaches that stand out for me. It's we can win a comp with him. That's available right now. If we're gonna do something under that and make a big finals push, it's Shane Flanagan, because at the end of the day, he's been there before. So I think although times might be tough, we just got to thug it out, and I reckon next year we're going to be a force we're going to be a force in the league.
2010 all over again.
2010 all over again, Pat. There you go. Next name, Mark Piggy Riddell.
Oh, geez.
I'll go 4.
4.
Yeah.
Great
try celebration.
Yeah.
Nah, you know what? I'll go 3. He was loved at the Dragons.
Yeah. The final name.
Oh yeah, we know this one.
Done your offer.
Yeah, I knew it.
Mate, stitch up, Elijah. You're a stitch up.
He was meant to be at 1. I hate you. He was meant to be my number 1. Nah, he will always.
I
have
think
special place in
there's
my
going to be a
heart.
shout out.
He was the one that came off head knocked into Bellham's return game, so he did something good for us. That was probably the only thing.
I think there's going to be a shout out to a guy called Steve Edge. He was the Parramatta captain, 81, 82, 83 premiership winning side, and he also won a few comps with the Dragons. So I think he's probably the greatest Eel/Dragon to ever play. Great hooker. Sterlo used to love him.
Well, that being said, this concludes the 21st episode of the Saints podcast. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get updated every single time we post a video. Boys, it was a pleasure to have you on.
Appreciate it.
Cheers,
Thank
boss.
Thanks for having us, Elijah.
Last but certainly not least, up the Saints.
Up the Saints.